Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through a dynamic effort upper workout. So today is the first week in my 3-week dynamic wave, and I decided for this 3-week wave to just do regular benching. So often I'll do a different variation of benching. Last wave I did board presses because I was trying to work on my top end strength. I might revisit that again. However, I don't think board presses suit dynamic effort work as well, just because it's such a short range of motion. I prefer doing like board press maxes and overloading that way. So anyway, successful regular bench dynamics there, pretty easy moving to be honest, but that is how it should do in the first week. That's how it should do every week. And then the things that I'm really trying to push hard on are my accessories, like here. So my first accessory here, as you can see, is Swiss bar overhead tricep extensions. Now I went heavy on these, and I think I managed to get a set of 6 there to begin with, and then maybe a set of 5 here. So the heaviest I've ever gone is 70 kilos, but only for a set of 3. And I don't think I've ever got this weight for like a set of 6 before. So this is basically the heaviest I've done for this rep range before, which is nice to see some progress on that. Then my next accessory here is just classic barbell rows with 120 kilos. Now, this is the same weight I have moved before. However, when I used to move this, I used to use way more body motion, and I used to be able to contract the weight way less of a range of motion and not get that back fully firing. However, I really felt when I did these, my back was actually properly moving the weight. It felt similar to how sort of 90 to 100 kilos used to feel before the start of this year. So I definitely think my back strength is going up, which is nice as well. Now, one variation of the barbell row for people who have a large belly such as myself, if you're wanting to contract even further, if the bar is hitting your belly, which is what it does do for me. Now I quite like that spot, I still get a good contraction there, but if I wanted to lighten the weight and increase the range of motion, a cambered bar is a great alternative. So I have a 4-inch camber bar, which I mainly use for bench pressing variations, but just as a quick tip, it can also be very useful if you're wanting to increase your range of motion for barbell rows, to use a camber bar instead of a barbell, and then it's not going to hit your belly or body in order to stop your range of motion. So the next accessory here is chest press. Now this is the heaviest I've ever gone on this because, as you can see by the weight stack, I have my gym pin in, and today I have a 15 kilo plate. So earlier in the week I tested my gym pin for the first time on these with the 10 kilo plate, and I think I was doing like 273 pounds, but now I'm doing 284 pounds. So this is the heaviest I've gone, and because of the way the pulleys work, I mentioned this earlier in the week as well, but the heavier I go, the more tension and friction there is in the pulleys, because I don't have a very smooth pulley system. My pulleys are plastic. If they were metal and ran really smoothly, it would feel like 284 pounds, 129 kilos, but it actually feels even heavier than that because there is friction within the pulleys. Because they're plastic, they're sort of eroding a bit, and they're not meant to support this much of a weight in the weight stack. So it probably felt at least like 230 kilos, probably like 235, maybe near like 300 pounds. Anyway, they felt great, and I managed to get, I think, sets of like 5, which is only 1 less rep than I was getting with like 10 pounds less. So happy with them, and I'm hoping to keep progressively overloading them with weight as well. But the gym pin was definitely a great investment for my chest pressing. I've just outgrown the weight stack. So next exercise here is strict presses using my open trap bar. So the benefit of this is basically the hand position is slightly different, and with a bar you obviously have to move your head out of the way of the bar when you press it up, and you can't have the bar directly over your center of mass. But in the same way that a trap bar is directly over your center of mass as opposed to a regular deadlift. These trap bar strict presses are directly over my center of mass instead of using a regular barbell. So I managed to get sets of 10 with 60 kilos here. Now, I've never done this variation before, but that would be a very good lift for me if I was using a regular barbell. And right there, the final rep was definitely a bit of a grind, and it did pump my shoulders up. I'm definitely wanting to try and work on my shoulder strength because I used to neglect that so much and only train my chest and triceps. And I feel like the recent progress I've made has definitely been from also incorporating dedicated delt work. I don't know why I trained it. I think it was because naturally my delts used to take over from my chest, and I wanted to prioritize my chest more, but now I'm going to train all components. So the next accessory here is hammer curls, just alternating hammer curls. Now, I went really heavy on my bicep curls early in the week. I think I did preacher curls on my bench pad with 25 kilos, and I was getting sets of 6, and my biceps had massive DOMs from that. So when it came to this workout, I didn't want to push them too much in terms of weight. So I just decided to go pretty light for me, and I got sets of like 30 alternating, so 15 per arm here in hammer curls with the 20 kilo dumbbells. It felt nice, and it definitely did get a good pump, particularly on this second set. On the first set, I probably didn't go quite to failure, which if you've been following the channel, you know I definitely believe in training intensity. That's why I'm only doing 2 sets on every accessory, and I believe in pushing hard, and the progress I've made this year has been crazy. Like in the first 4 months of the year, it's probably been the same as the last like year and a half before it. It is nuts, and obviously I'm deeper into training, so usually your progress slows down over time. Nope, mine has sped up since training harder and making sure that I'm pushing to failure routinely. But the first set of these bicep curls, I didn't quite push to failure, but this second set here, it was like a big burn there. I could definitely feel it at the end. So they were trained successfully as well. And finally, I ended off with GHD crunches. So I've been doing GHD sit-ups, and doing it on a GHD is great because you can get a big range of motion. You can go way down, deeper than where the floor would be. And I did weighted crunches earlier in the week. Again, my abs had been sore throughout the week, so I didn't want to do something with too much of a range of motion or too heavy because I think my abs couldn't handle it. However, doing these crunches has a different advantage, which is that the tension stays on your abs throughout the entire set. So when you do sit-ups, if you're doing them the full range of motion and bringing your body all the way up into the top position where you're sitting up, it's really easy in that top position. Your weight is just grounding down. Like when you're sitting on a chair, you're not going, oh, I'm getting a great ab workout in. It's really easy. So you take the tension off your muscles. However, when you do crunches like this, it literally feels like you're just doing different degrees of contraction, but you're still contracting throughout the entire motion, and it pumps up the abs. This definitely did sting in my abs as well, partially because of the DOMs, like I'd said I'd experienced earlier on the week, but also because this is a great exercise in of itself. And if you always do sit-ups, I suggest trying crunches. It looks like you're doing less, but because the tension is staying on the abs the whole time, it's almost like a plank, how the tension's staying on them, and then you're doing small reps just to get extra contractions in there. So that is it for today's video. I hope you did in fact enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all of that good stuff, and have a great day.